Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Cafe, where we create a caring atmosphere for emotions. This is a space for real conversations about resilience, growth, and empowerment. I am Shawnna, and today's episode is about thriving in singleness after 40, embracing life, love, and self discovery. So grab your favorite drink, meal, or snack, settle in, and let's talk about what truly matters. So many people assume that if you're single after 40, it's because you've given up on love. But what if being single at this stage of life is actually an opportunity for something greater? Today, we're talking about what it really means to embrace singleness, rediscover yourself, and open your heart again on your own terms. Today, I have a guest, as you guys can see, Miss Regena London, someone I've known for over 20 years, who is here to share her journey on being single after 40, self love, healing, and finding love again. So, welcome. How are you?
Hello, hello.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay, so let's jump into the reality of living single after 40. So, my first question for you is: did you ever imagine yourself being single at this stage of life?
No, I did not. I
So,
thought I would be
go ahead.
married. Uh, I felt like I would have been married at least married by 25 and still in my marriage.
Okay,
So we should have been celebrating 30 years of marriage by now almost.
I like it. If it was reality, I would love that. So, how has your perspective on singleness changed over time?
Okay, so with me, being that I am single now, it's not as much of a big deal as people would probably think, even with me being 40, because even in the past, I've never really had a problem with being single. It's not a big issue for me. It was more so an issue. My family had an issue with it. I didn't have an issue with it. I think family and friends more so had the issue with me being single than I had the issue with me being single.
Okay. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about being single after 40?
They think that they will be alone for the rest of their life, that it's over with for them, because we're 40 now. We're over 40. We about, over the hill. Nobody wants us, but that's not true because trust me, I get asked out all the time. I have options, so that's not true at all.
So I know you mentioned your family earlier. So I guess that goes into my next question of how do you handle like the family pressures to be in a relationship?
Well, as of right now, I don't have to handle it because the only family member that mattered to me was my mom, and she's no longer here. So, as far as anyone else, whatever they think about me being married, it doesn't matter to me. But she wanted me married. She wanted me to have someone when she was no longer here. So she's no longer here now. So I don't have that to worry about anymore.
Okay. So let's go into the next segment about finding yourself again. My next question for you would be: many people lose themselves in relationships. What has being single taught you about yourself?
Being single teaches me that I do a lot better single because when we get in relationships, we tend to put our all into the relationship. We want to do the most for that significant other. And
Mhm.
we forget about the goals and things that we thought about doing for ourselves before we got in that relationship. We start focusing on something else, the relationship of it all. And we just want to be focused on that instead of focus on the things that we were trying to do before the relationship. So I know that when I get in relationships, I tend to focus on that. But when I'm single, I get things done. I accomplish a lot as far as my goals and the things that I want to do when I'm single.
Okay. I know, like for myself, I guess, like for me, for every breakup, I always felt the need to do like self discovery afterwards. Because I can admit that breakups can weigh on you, especially on your mental. You know, you get to
Mm-hmm.
question yourself and the whole nine yards. And I always wanted to understand why I kept attracting what felt like the same spirit in different people. Have you ever felt like that? That you were attracting like
Mm-hmm.
the same person over and over again?
I think that that has a lot to do with your upbringing as to the men that you attract, because I know that I was brought up thinking of the man that I needed, and that was a man that was going to take care of me.
Hmm.
And so when we tend to have that mindset, instead of me having the mindset of whatever it is you get for yourself, you make sure you okay. I wanted the man that was going to make sure that I was okay. So I attracted that. And most of the times when you go for the men that are going to make sure you okay, they be toxic. They be controlling. It's a lot that comes with that.
Hmm.
So I've learned to make sure I do everything for myself. And if I'm okay and I know that I got me, then I'm not searching for that man that got me.
Okay. So I know for me, another part of, soul searching, I'm gonna call it the soul
Hmm.
searching that I did, was reaching a point where I had to realize that before I could truly love someone else, I needed to fall in love with myself. I don't think a lot of
Hmm.
people actually fall in love with themselves. Like, you can love yourself all day long, but I don't think no one is
Hmm.
really taking the time to fall in love with themselves. And what I mean by that is caring for yourself the same way that you would care for that person that you're with.
Right.
Do you ever find that to be a struggle of actually being in love with yourself?
I don't think that it was a thing of me being in love with myself. I think that I was in love with myself, but I was enabling myself. I always felt like I couldn't do what I needed him to do.
Hmm.
So it was, to me, honestly, it's like relationships hinder me. It's like they enable me. I look for people that's gonna do all the things for me that I want done in life, that I want out of life. But now I find that I want that for myself. I don't want anybody that's gonna do all that for me. I know what it comes with now.
Okay. So I also have this thing now where, like, I stopped looking for someone else to validate me, and just started showing up for myself, like in
Right.
ways that I never did before. I think that's is one of those things. It's something that you actually have to learn if it wasn't instilled in you to begin with.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go to my next question. What are some of the things you've done to reconnect with yourself emotionally, mentally, or even spiritually?
Well, now I journal. I
Okay.
write. I'm currently writing a book now. I journal all the time. I write down my feelings. I even, record my feelings. I have a podcast as well. I have another YouTube channel, and a lot of those things I voice. Those are like therapy for me. I voice what I'm feeling on those, so that's therapy for me.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone who feels lost after a breakup or a divorce and doesn't know who they are outside of the relationship?
Well, first of all, they need to sit with themselves. They need to ask God to heal their mind, body, and spirit.
Okay. So for me, like, I like affirmations. And one of the ones I like is, I am worthy of the love I so freely give to others. And I choose to
Hmm.
pour into myself first. So
Hmm.
I'm going to ask you, Miss Regena London, before we move on, if you could share an affirmation for anyone that's listening who is in their own journey of self love and rediscovery.
It would be good things come to those who wait.
Okay, guys, you heard that. Good things come to those who wait. So take a moment to ask yourself, not you, Regina, this is for the listeners, but take a moment to ask yourself, how have I been showing love to myself lately? If the answer isn't clear, it might be time to start. For me, I just believe that once we truly learn to love ourselves, it changes the way we approach relationships. So let's talk about what it means to open your heart again after heartbreak. So I'm giving it back to you, Regina. How did learning to love yourself change the way you approach dating?
Well, now I don't go over my boundaries. Normally, I'm willing to If I decide, let's say, I don't want no light and they want light, then I'll compromise. I don't do any compromising when it comes to my boundaries now. Whatever I have it set in my head to where I want it to be, then that's what it is. Because what I've learned that is when you start compromising what it is that you really want, then that's where you go wrong.
Mm,
So I no longer compromise my boundaries. I know what it is. I know what I'm willing to accept, what I can accept, and that's just it. I'm not going. I'm not compromising anything else.
okay, so let me ask this. Have you ever experienced heartbreak?
Yes,
Okay,
recently.
okay. So let's get into learning to love again. After experiencing heartbreak, is it easy to build walls? Like, what helped you open your heart again? I don't, well, you just said it was recently. Do you ever think that you're going to open your heart again?
My heart is open. It never closed. Although
Okay.
I at times I thought about closing it and I thought about building walls, but I don't think that's for me. For some reason, at the age that I am now, I feel like I'm lovable and I want to love. Before it was I was more closed off. I had the walls up when I was at a younger age. But even though I've been through this heartbreak, I'm not shut down. My heart isn't shut down. I'm still open to love because now I know what real love feels like. And when I say real love, not that I feel like I got real love from that relationship, but I saw what I was able to give to someone. So I want that.
Okay. So, how do you approach dating differently now than you did in your 20s or your 30s?
Um, I wait to be pursued. I normally go after who I want. Normally, most of the people that I have been with, I have pursued them. Um, Now I wait. You know, they say those who find a wife find a good thing, so he got to find me.
Okay. Clock that, as the kids would say.
Hmm.
So, what qualities or values are most important to you and a partner at this stage in life?
His character. He has to be consistent, caring, loving. He has to be God fearing. Number one, he has to be a man of God. He has to truly love God because there's a lot of people out here to say they love God and they don't love God. They don't even know God. So number one, he has to be God fearing.
So, you said one of my favorite words, which is consistent, because I think
Hmm.
consistency is such a beautiful thing. Like, when a person is consistent, it definitely sets the tone for that
Hmm.
relationship. Would you agree with that?
It does, but I'm gonna tell you, all that consistency and that loving and that caring and all that doesn't mean anything if he's not a man of God. So that's why I
Mhm.
say that's number one. Because I have seen that even though a man can be consistent, he can be all the above, checking all the boxes, but he didn't check the one. He wasn't a man of God. And
No.
so even though he was being consistent, it was all pretend. All that was pretend.
So you want someone who consistently loves God. You see where I just went with that? But
Okay then.
he needs to consistently love God as well. Okay, so
Right.
let's go into this embracing the journey with or
Hmm.
without a relationship. So if you never got into another relationship, do you feel like your life would still be fulfilling? Why or why not?
Hmm. I do. Because for one, a man don't complete me. I'm not a half a person. I'm already a whole person. So he's not completing me. I'm already complete.
I like it.
So if I never get in another relationship before, okay, I'm still complete.
So what are some of the best parts about being single that people don't talk about enough?
Single, stress is down gone. Life is easier. Single. That's what they don't talk about enough.
Repeat it. Repeat it one more time for me.
Stress is now gone. Life is easier. Single.
Okay. You know what? I like that. I ain't never heard that before. So
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So how do you balance being open to love while also being happy where you are?
So this is the thing. Now I have come to terms with what's meant for me will be.
Mm-hmm.
So when God brings my boys to me, because he got to come to me this time. He got to come to me. So when he bring my boys to me, then I will be open to it. But until then, I'm having fun enjoying where I am right now. Like I literally enjoy being at home by myself, doing what I do.
But do you ever like? Do you have moments of where you miss the companionship?
I do. But you know what? I think about what I've been through. I think about what I've been through. And so I know that I'm willing to wait this time until I find what it is that I really need. Because I know that what I've been through, I can never go through again. I can't do it anymore. So I'm willing to wait. So from this day forward, I want God to be in control of my next marriage, my next relationship, anything next. I need for him to manage all that. All that is going to be up to him.
No, I agree with that. Do you want to share with the listeners anything that stood out in your past relationships that bother you the most? What's like a deal breaker? The deal breakers for you?
Oh, well, control. I don't I cannot do control. And I feel like this day and time we have a lot of men that likes to control women. Um I'm willing to be led by a man that knows how to follow and that's leading. I'm not a man that knows how to follow, but a man that knows how to lead. But he has to be leading me in the right direction. I'm not willing to just follow anybody.
Okay.
Like I said, he has to be a man of God.
So let me ask this because I used to say the same thing too, right? Like, like I'll follow. I have the ability to follow as long as, I know that you know what you're doing, right? But
Right.
then for me, I also have this thing because I was single for so long that if you take too long, if you move too slow on something, then I'm a try to jump in there and be like, well, we probably should go this way because
Now,
because you take it too long on figuring out the direction that we should go in.
well, this is the thing with me. A lot of people would say that I'm very strong minded, and I am strong minded. But when it comes to me and my man, I need a man that's going to be a man and know how to be a man because I'm going to let you be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I didn't realize about me. Like, I legit thought that I was running everything up until, like I said, I don't know if it's this old age or what it is. I don't know. But now I'm willing to let a man be a man. I need for you to lead me, sir. We going up the hill. Okay, you go first.
Yeah, I definitely think age plays a part in it, especially if you've been, I'm gonna just say, the single woman, the head of the household, having to play both roles, the woman and the man to your children, not necessarily the man to your children, but still being that stern figure for your children as
Mm,
well. That when you do find a relationship, you like kind of like about time, you
right.
go ahead, you take the lead or whatever, but I'm not gonna jump off no cliff with you. So
Oh, right. Right.
but I know for me, I think I still to this day still kind of have a little bit of a power struggle of, again, I'm gonna follow your lead, but if it doesn't make sense to me, I tend to speak up and be like, well, why? Because that don't really make sense. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong when I do that because again,
No, you're not. You're not because I'm gonna tell you. Even in my past relationship, I once was kind of silent, didn't say a whole lot because I assumed that he knew where he was going. But I realize now that you can't always be as silent. You got to know when to speak up. You have to know when to speak.
mm,
So if you see that you almost near the cliff, then you need to say, "Hey, you sure we going this way?"
I think a lot of times, and it goes back to what you said about being God fearing and knowing God and having a relationship with God. I'm gonna add that piece in there too, because people can know God all day long, but if you don't have a personal relationship with them, it still kind of
Mm-hmm.
defeats the purpose. I look at God as being the GPS system, when giving direction. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you have men who just want to go off the top of the dome, or the memory of, I know how to get there. Like, this the way
Right.
we go. And you like, but the GPS ain't saying go that way, but this the way you go. But maybe the GPS trying to get you to avoid traffic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
what we should be doing. And I think that's kind of where I struggle at, because I'm like, it's not making sense to me. It's not making any sense at all. Like, why we? But okay. And sometimes I'll sit back, and be like, okay, do
Mm-hmm.
do your thing. And then when it don't work out, you just kind of get that look like,
Well, we got to give them that first time to bump your head in so they can see for themselves that you did what you did. I didn't say nothing. We went the wrong way. I didn't say nothing. I
mm-hmm,
just rode quietly. But
mm-hmm.
this time, sir, if you made the wrong turn, I'm gonna redirect you. So I think it's kind of a wait and see type of situation.
Okay. So let me get into this next question. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about love and relationships, what would it be?
What I'm I probably would tell myself to wait on it. Wait until God says it's okay. It's good. Wait until He approves. Like don't move. Because if I can go back and do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have started dating until I was 30.
Okay. So if you can go back and tell your younger self, just imagine your younger self being in this particular time right now. Do you think that advice you would listen to?
No. No. No.
They say we currently in like the little crash out era. Like
Yeah,
these young folks be out here
and
doing crazy
when you're
stuff.
younger, you rebellious. You want to do everything but the right thing. So no, I wouldn't have listened. But I feel like if I had an insight on my life today, I would have.
Mm. I'm wondering what I what would I go back and change, or what advice. I haven't even thought about that question for myself. Like, I'm asking you the question, but I haven't really thought about what advice would I give my young. Well, I do know one advice I would give, and that's not having multiple baby daddies.
Hmm.
For sure, for certain, I would give myself that advice. I probably would have said not to be in a rush to have kids either. Um,
Hmm.
I probably would have maybe focused on myself a little bit longer. Like, the girls just asked me this question yesterday, as a matter of fact, of like, what is, prior to you having kids, what was some of the things that you wanted to do? And I literally had to sit there, like, talking to them about it. And it wasn't like anything extreme, but I probably would have joined the military, because that was actually the route that I was going. I was in ROTC all 4 years, the whole 9 yards. So it was kind of like, I don't know why I didn't join the military.
And guess what? I would have been right there with you because that was where I should have been. My best friend went to the Navy and I stayed.
Hmm.
And I've been kicking myself about it ever since because had I went, I think things would have been a lot different than right where they are now.
Yeah, I said the same thing too. Or we probably would be still half crazy. But,
But at the same time, I feel like God did what he did because he he did what he did for a reason.
hmm
So we going through all of what we going through for a reason. We here for a reason, doing what we doing for a reason. We went through everything for a reason. And I feel now that at least now that I'm older, I'm able to make more wiser decisions. I feel like I lived a good life. I went through some things, but you got to go through some things to become the person that you are today because I could have been a lot worse.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so one of my last questions is, what's one piece of encouragement you give to someone listening who is struggling with being single after 40?
Okay. Well, a lot of women are running out here chasing and looking for men when they need to be looking for themselves. Look for yourself, find yourself, learn yourself. And I feel like when you do all that, when you know yourself and you loving yourself, love gonna follow. You gon' that man gonna find you. You're not chasing him. He's supposed to be chasing you.
I like that. Okay, so I know you mentioned earlier about your podcast. Tell the listeners where they can connect with you at.
Just lounging with Regena London and also Regena London. So it's Regena London.
Okay, what social media platforms?
I am on Instagram at Regena London and also Facebook at Regena London.
Okay, what's your YouTube channel?
Regena London. Regena London and Just Lounging with Regena London podcast.
Okay, guys, so my final reflection and encouragement to you all is, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, is this: your value isn't defined by your relationship status. Whether you're single, dating, or in a relationship, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. You are worthy of love, but most importantly, you are worthy of your own love first. So this week, I'm going to give you a challenge, as I always do. I challenge you to do one thing that pours back into yourself, whether it's speaking affirmations, taking yourself on a date, or simply enjoying your own company. Remind yourself that you are enough as you are. I am complete on my own, and any love that enters my life will only add to my happiness, not define it. That's my final affirmation for you guys. I love to hear from you. What's one thing you're doing to embrace this season of your life? You can always DM me, comment, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. And until next time, peace and one love.